Welcome, everyone, to the Energy Medicine Summit. I'm Dr. Christine Schaffner, and today I'm with my guest, Dr. Beth McDougall, and we're going to be talking about the Pristine Blueprint. Beth McDougall is the founder and medical director of CLEAR, Center of Health in Mill Valley, California, where she specializes in helping patients with chronic illness and neurodegenerative diseases. She's advancing a new medical paradigm, one at the intersection of medicine and contemporary physics, to transform the practice of medicine. Her soon-to-be published book introducing this paradigm, Your Pristine Blueprint, The Missing Key to Longevity, Reversing Disease, and Radically Transforming Your Life, addresses how the larger context can lead to profound health and well-being. Wow, welcome, Dr. McDougall. It's really an honor to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much, Christine. My pleasure.
Oh, well, I'm so excited to dive in about your expertise. This is an area that I'm super passionate about as well. And I really so enjoy looking at the body from the lens of course, biochemistry and naturopathic medicine and functional medicine. But there's this whole realm to us that this summit is really presencing, and that's this realm of biophysics and this whole other nature of the human body. So can you just share a little bit, Beth, about your journey to experience this part of the body?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I just started right out of the gate in my medical practice about 23 years ago as an integrative physician. And so I was always thinking very holistically about the body, but and doing, having a remarkably successful practice and, unearthing underlying issues. But very often I just felt like there was a deeper level of causality. Just a deeper, and I'm just wanting to get to the absolute root. And I realized that sometimes that deeper level of causality was really about kind of energetic signatures that were trapped in a person's biofield and even in reverberating in their cells that was related to a past trauma, let's say, or related to societal or familial conditioning, or even to something that happened to them in utero or very young age. And that was kind of smoldering under the surface of their conscious perception. And so I just more and more started studying energy medicine and kind of the human biofield and reading, thinking, people that were thought leaders in that area of how we do store our biography in our energetic system, and really understanding that when someone was committed to diving into this level of their health, oftentimes they would be able to fully unwind a health situation. And so then when sometimes I would just stumble on working with somebody and they would do that. And then I wasn't quite sure how to make that happen for people. And, because it's not really up to me. But what I gradually learned over the, 23 years was to create kind of like the best set of circumstances or environment to help support someone to do that kind of work for themselves.
It's beautiful. And I have a very similar observation I've just been doing this 11 years, but I've seen that story unfold as well. And as people really look at their health beyond their physical body in this whole other realm, there's so much opportunity for true healing to happen, and really a healing on such a deep soul level, which I think is what it's all about. And so no, I love how your journey has taken you there. And you call it the Pristine Blueprint. We all have this pristine blueprint. And can you just share what you mean by this term?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm going to back up a little bit before I explain, because I think so this dive into energy medicine and the human biofield kind of led to studying biophysics, the body electric, and then I got into studying physics in general and kind of contemporary thinking in physics. And also getting more into the nature of reality and just, what actually constitutes this kind of physical experience that we have here on Earth. And so I really dove into physics and began to understand that we all emerge as unique expressions of this one beautiful field of energy and information that I call the unified field. Mm-hmm. And I'm not the only one who calls it that, but we all emerge as these unique expressions. And then I also was very influenced by thinking about how matter is not static, but actually is very ephemeral and flickering in and out of existence. And so if that's the case, well, how is that happening? How is it that we are forming and annihilating trillions of times a second, but we're these multicellular complex beings with 37 trillion cells and billions of chemical reactions happening in each cell every second in a coordinated manner? Like, how is that actually happening? And that really got me into researching the idea of morphogenic fields and the work of Rupert Sheldrake and others, because this theory that governs the formation of physical matter is not new. But what I feel is that there is a blueprint that forms at the moment of our conception, when the sperm penetrates the egg and there's that flash of light and actually a sound, that photoacoustic boom just informs the field that our life was created, and that creates kind of a series of intersecting vibratory patterns that actually govern the cellular layout in our embryological development and creates the information set, this intrinsic data field that orchestrates our exquisitely complex physiology. Mm. So we have this pristine blueprint that, when it's translated properly, results in vibrant, optimal health. And then as we go through life, there are things that begin to interfere with the translation of this blueprint. And we're this blueprint is translating into our physical form, and every trillionth of a second as we're flickering in and out of existence. So as we collect misinformation and energetic signatures that are not in harmony with our blueprint as we go through life, that can start to disrupt the fidelity of the translation of the blueprint.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's such a beautiful and elegant explanation of really complex topics, right? I love studying what you're just sharing, and I hated physics in school, but this physics is just beautiful, and it has such an elegant explanation of really the nature of reality as you share. And I want to go in a few different directions, but some people might be trying to connect the dots. Okay, we've talked about biofield and unified field, and then we have a blueprint. And so do you think of the blueprint as something separate, or something, maybe a different word for some of the same ideas when you talk about this blueprint or this signature that we all come to with informing kind of the fullest potential that we can have in a life?
Great question. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do kind of think of them as separate things. Mm-hmm. So the blueprint, I feel like, is this morphogenic field or guiding template. And we've got this kind of generic life force energy in the unified field. There's just almost an infinite amount of energy. And I see the blueprint as guiding the flow of that. Mm-hmm. So, and the blueprint provides the information. So it's guiding this generic life force into into our physical body and giving us life, animating us, and doing that with everything else. So this same life force is animating you, it's animating me, it's animating the animals and the plants, and even the rocks and the inert type things on the planet. So it's really the template that is guiding the energy into these intersecting vibratory patterns that can manifest as us. And then the biofield, I think about as something a little bit different. So you think about, we are electrical beings. It's like our biochemical reactions produce electromagnetic fields. And you think about our cell membranes, for example, and you have what's called a cell membrane potential. And that's really informed by the ratio of ions inside the cell versus out. the ratio of magnesium and sodium and chloride and potassium and things like that inside the cell versus out. And even things like structured water inside the cell. And so you've got a net negative charge inside the cell versus outside of the cell. And we have 3.7 trillion cells. I think Bruce Lipton has said that we collectively have an electromagnetic charge of 3.5 trillion volts, which is extraordinary when you think that a cell phone has 5 volts. This electrical nature of our biology is generating a field that's kind of extending beyond our body. Mm-hmm. And I think of the biofield as having different kind of rings of differing energetic density, so to speak. And I used to think about the biofield as more just kind of existing outside of the body, like depicted in religious iconography and all of that. But it's really differing densities that are interpenetrating within the body itself, because the body is nothing more than intersecting vibratory waves of information. So you just have this kind of like, from the more rarefied all the way up to the grosser level of the biology, you have different layers of energetic density. And I think about the most rarefied layer as in communication with the blueprint.
So, Beth, that was such a beautiful explanation. And just to summarize, just so maybe the audience is, also digesting this alongside myself, is that what you're sharing is, okay, we have this electromagnetic nature from all the reasons that you just shared. And with that being said, as these different layers, again, I love how you share they're not just these separate layers, but they're different interweaving layers of density. But this kind of like outer shell, if you will, is that blueprint that actually is the closest connection, or maybe the most able to connect with the unified field. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think about the human biofield as a conduit.
Mm-hmm.
So a conduit that can amplify the exchange of energy and information from the field when it's clear. Mm-hmm. And when it's cloudy or full of gunk from our unmetabolized emotions and stored traumas, and it can't do that as well. Mm-hmm. So, and I've often used the analogy of, if like you think about the energy inherent in the unified field as a light, and the blueprint, like the old celluloid film, and the light's transferring through the film and producing an image. Well, the image would be like the body. Mm-hmm. Now imagine if you have a room that's full of smoke and particulates and things like that, the light would be passing kind of through those and then through the film, and the image would be a little bit cloudier. Mm-hmm. So that's analogous to having a biofield full of gunk, so to speak. And if it were clear, it's just much more of a crystal clear image that would be like the appropriate image.